So my name is Kallinicou. I am the chapter development specialist on the chapter services team at NHF. Yeah, I started in August of 2018, so almost 4 years. But I've been with my current team since February of 2021, so just over a year. Yeah, so I started on the medical programs and information team, and specifically, the major part of my job was NHF's Information Resource Center, Handy. So I think that experience alone, like navigating all those requests from community members, both globally and locally, I think that honestly helped a huge transition to the chapter services team because we deal with a lot of those one-off requests from chapters. Every chapter is so different. Every community has different needs. So I think that definitely helped prepare me for chapter services. Yeah. I kind of did the usual thing of you go to college for 4 years and then what you got your major in, you don't do anything related to that. So I went, NHF was actually my first job out of undergrad. So my senior year of college, I worked at the local library. And that kind of like opened my mind up to the nonprofit world, but also what I realized that's really important for me in a career and what I wanted to pursue is just finding work that's meaningful, impactful, and really helping those in need. So that's kind of why I stumbled upon NHF when I was applying for jobs once I graduated, and the mission was super exciting. Individuals with rare diseases often inherited. So that kind of, helping those people really, really drew me to the organization. And specifically, like I mentioned earlier, I worked in the Information Resource Center. So I was often the first point of contact into NHF, and often when someone was diagnosed with a bleeding disorder, they were contacting NHF first, and it was coming directly to me. So that was super meaningful to me and kind of what drew me initially to NHF. Yeah, I feel like there's been a lot. So this was a tough question for me because I feel like it's like a weekly thing where I'm impacted by something great. So, but there was a couple that really stood out for me. I'm going to go back again to, when I was working in Handy, we would get requests, from anyone, globally as well. And there was one request that really stood out to me. There was someone who had an inherited bleeding disorder contacted NHF from Brazil, and they wanted to come to the US to study for graduate school specifically. So that request was pretty eye-opening too. Just navigating the US insurance system, just, an international student coming to the US is already so much work. Having a bleeding disorder as well, navigating the HTC, what those are like in the US, treatment. There was just so many aspects that you had to consider. And it was probably like a 6-month period where I was communicating with him, directing him to resources NHF had, reaching out to external resources in the area he was going to school, and just, it was pretty comprehensive. And we really got into the weeds into a lot of things. And then probably it had been about 6 months since I heard anything from him. He reached out and was like, hey, I made it to the US. I started my first day of class, and it was just amazing to see the he made it, and like just the small role that I played in that process. And it was just, really exciting to see that, like going back to, why I got drawn in to work at NHF, like having meaningful impact on people's lives. And I think that specific story really, really speaks to that.